Hi everyone, welcome back to this YouTube video, and in this video I will be giving you some information on random sampling. So just a heads up, before this video I have taken a lot of videos on what is sampling and the types of sampling, the types of biases in sampling. So if you haven't got to see those videos, you can click on the links given in the description box. So without any further delay, let's get into the video. So what is random sampling? So as I mentioned, there are two types of sampling techniques, which is probability based and non-probability based. So under probability, random sampling is one of the types. So what is this random sampling? So it's a technique where every observation in the population has an equal chance of being selected by being selected randomly. Okay, so you have a population and the way in which the observations are selected is random. It's just self-explanatory. So to give you some example, like we have all heard of lucky draw and we are excited about lucky draws. So lucky draw is a perfect example for random sampling. So you have a number of customers or participants, and then in order to select one lucky person, randomly the person or the information is being picked up. So this is a example of random sampling. So if you look at the advantages of this random sampling is it saves time and the sample is also unbiased, because since everyone has an equal chance of being selected, it's unbiased because you're not omitting any set of observations or any set of people or what other things involved in the research. Since it's not being neglected and everything is included, it's unbiased. So this is the advantages of random sampling. When you look at the drawbacks, there are some drawbacks. So the first one is it requires the data of the entire population. So now in order to select randomly, you definitely need at least the entire population's information. So for example, if you see in this lucky draw, let's say there's this shop who has a lucky draw, and the lucky draw is conducted maybe at the end of the month, and in that particular month, for the number of customers who had purchased some items or products from the shop, they will be the population. So definitely you need all the customers for that particular month that needs to be collected, which is the population, and then one lucky person is selected. So this is how you need the entire population. When you don't have the entire population, then it's said to be biased, because some people are not included in that selection method. So that's why it requires the entire population. Next one is acquiring the data of the entire population when there are time and money constraints is a little tough. So there are a lot of, now here if you see this lucky draw, it might be something simple. So you must be asking, why will there be a problem in acquiring the entire population? This is just the tip of the iceberg. But if I have to do an extensive research, let's say on all the students in a particular country, imagine the students who are doing schooling, who are doing correspondent, who are in their universities, who are doing PhDs, all these need to be collected. Collecting that information is not simple and it's not an easy task. So therefore that can be a little bit tedious and a difficult task. The next one, it's hard to reconstruct the population with the given data. So sometimes people, what they do is, in research, they take, since they have a sample in hand, okay, or limited amount of data, they try to replicate and reconstruct that data so that it represents the entire population. But in most scenarios or most situations, this is very tough, and the reconstructed data set will definitely not be a exact representation of the population. And the next one is performing random sampling without the entire population leads to bias. So as I said, if you're going to omit certain customers or certain set of the population and conduct a random sampling for the remaining observations, then definitely the data set or the population or the sample is skewed. So therefore the results that is generated also is definitely going to be in a form of a biased manner and inaccurate. So these are some drawbacks when you have to use the random sampling technique. So here I can give you an example. So there are, a research institute was conducting, okay, a research. Sorry, this is not conduction, it's conducting a research on the students of various degrees from all around the country. So, as I said, I gave that example. So, imagine there's a country and there's this research institute who wants to do some type of research on the students and how maybe their views towards pursuing studies and how they want to pursue after their studies and what makes them motivated to take up a particular course. There can be various researches that's done on this. So that can be like anything. That the main aim is that they want to conduct a research on all the students and they need that data. So imagine the number of universities, schools, colleges, etc., etc., crash courses, and all these centers which actually have conduct these courses and where students' information is stored. So collecting this data is going to be really a big job for them. So what happens is the entire team tried collecting public data that's already available. But that's not just enough. So the team approached institutes for data, and some institutes provided the data while others denied due to certain privacy issues. So they managed to just get a little bit of data and not all the data. Also, the data that was collected, it was very limited and it was from cities, because sometimes in rural areas going to the location collecting data was a little bit tedious. So given the budget and time constraints, also the team was unable to travel and approach far towns and rural students. So that was another issue, and therefore the team, what they did was they decided to work with the existing data, which was not exactly the entire population, which led to bias. So definitely what results were generated, you cannot say that it was the right um, result that was observed with the entire research and analysis, because the data was not actually the exact representation of the population. So because they had just this data in hand, they used that for their research. But that's one drawback with random sampling. So you need the entire population in order for your sample to be unbiased. So also when we say unbiased, of course you need the entire population's information, and the information should also be complete. So if you see here, there are certain records that are incomplete. So even when you do your analysis, when, say for example, these students are randomly selected to be a sample, definitely the data that is not complete. So your analysis is also in a question mark, because you need data to do analysis. So these are some drawbacks when you have to do random sampling, and the criterias that need to be fulfilled to get really exact and accurate results of it. So I hope this information was useful to you. So if you like this video, please do give this a thumbs up. If you haven't subscribed to this channel, please do subscribe to this channel, and also do share your feedbacks. Thank you.